Talofa, my name is Suzanne Utai. I'm a mental health practitioner with over 25 years experience. I run a private practice. I work in the hospital emergency departments and I serve with the Royal Flying Doctors providing fly-in, fly-out care. I was born in New Zealand to an Australian mum and a Samoan dad, and I'm proud to be a part of a blended family with 8 children. My passion is helping people navigate life's challenges and finding hope in the process. That's a little bit about me. Have an awesome day, and I hope to get to know you too. Hi, I'm with Trent today. Some of you may not know who I am. My name is Suzanne Utai. I am a mental health practitioner. I work in private practice. I work a lot with our Indigenous and our Pacifica and kōrero community, but work across the field also. So I also work for Queensland Health and work in the emergency department in mental health, and I do some work for the Royal Flying Doctors and fly in and out up to the Cape and do some work up there. So I work a lot in mental health, and because it's Mental Health Week in a couple of weeks' time, and we've just come out of Suicide Prevention Month, I wanted to have some conversations about mental health. That's really important for each of us to learn and understand why people talk about mental health so much. So I've got Trent with me. I'll let Trent introduce himself.
So my name is Trent Marchong. Currently the Rugby Services Manager with Queensland Rugby Union, and we look after the Queensland Reds as well. My role is basically working with community competitions and competition leads in providing access to games and access to our Rugby Explorer platforms, and dealing with a whole heap of stakeholders from all across Queensland.
Awesome. So I'm guessing that you would probably see issues with mental health in your area of expertise. So I guess, firstly, I want to ask, what does mental health personally mean to you?
For me, I see mental health as a scale. There's good mental health, there's bad mental health, and there's everything in between. I think on that scale, and depending, it changes from day to day. It's very similar to your physical health, so you can work on it. But you can see personally with others, you can see sometimes when someone's having bad mental health day, they struggle with the simplest of tasks, whether it's making their bed or completing some things at work.
Have you seen in your field, I'm guessing you see a whole lot of rugby players. Have you seen mental health impact on players? Majorly.
You can see it, on and off the field. On the field, they make a mistake and they might struggle to bounce back. Off the field, very similarly in training, or you do get to know a lot of people, and you see them in other walks of life, and you get to see them outside of their rugby playing uniforms, and you do. It is harder to identify sometimes when someone's struggling, but you can. The better you get to know someone, I think, is probably the best way to be able to see that, spot that.
And it's so true. A lot of people hide it, because they feel it's a weakness, and that's what I hear a lot in my counselling, that they're embarrassed, or it's a weakness, or they're not crazy. They tell me they're not crazy, and I say, yes, I know you're not crazy, but you're struggling with some things. Why do you think people struggle so much?
That's probably the biggest thing is the stigma behind it. It is seen as a sign of weakness, and especially the Pacifica people don't like to seem weak or to appear weak in front of others.
Yep.
So it's probably just that stigma behind it, and it's not only the Pacifica people, but it is that the fear of weakness is probably a lot stronger in the Pacifica.
Mm. Do you think it's important then that, like we had just had Suicide Prevention Month, and now we've got Mental Health Week in October, November they do some things around mental health. Is it important to do these kinds of things?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the awareness piece, very much the awareness piece. And then I've been very fortunate in my role, and across the years they've been taking us through mental health first aid training, and it's not only the awareness, but how to have those conversations, how to start those conversations, how to broach them, and speaking to the people that you love or the people that you might come across. That one, identifying it, and two, it's not always about fixing it. It's always mental health first aid, and that certification was about identifying it and then how to best attack it and how to share resources with them that might be able to help. So.
Because it's very much like physical, you get physically hurt in football, you've got everyone around, you've got specialists that work, they're not doctors, but they're first aiders, and they can help, and they can
I think
do all of that.
To receive that help.
Yeah.
On the mental health side of things, it's probably a little bit harder, and they do go hand in hand. Injury does play in mental health a fair bit.
Yeah. Especially if someone can't play, is out for a while, I'm sure that would impact their mental health.
Majorly, and speaking personally, I had a couple of major injuries while I was playing, and I was sidelined for a fair bit, and did struggle. Went through some highs and some lows throughout that time. So, I think if I had my time over, I'd probably try and find some people to talk to. But I was able to get through with the physical. The people that were there to help me physically, and I think that opened up a little bit. I had a good group of players that we were all injured together, and we all banded together, and we were just able to have conversations together and make each other laugh. So awesome. that helped.
Yeah. So what's one message of hope or advice that you would give people who are going through some mental health issues, especially those who kind of hide it really well because they're embarrassed or ashamed or think it's a weakness?
I think it's the hard one, but it is just to speak to somebody. As I mentioned before, in that rehab group, it was just we were able to make each other laugh, but we were having conversations, and they weren't deep mental health conversations, and I've been able to grow and develop and have those later in life. But it's just talk to someone.
Yeah.
You aren't alone.
And I guess that's really important. Talk to someone. There's sometimes when we go through difficult times, we can talk to a friend or a mate, and we can work through it together. There are some times where our mental health struggles more than that, and then we need to seek a professional. Just as in our physical, we can manage if we go sprain our ankle and do things, but if we do things that are worse, we kind of have to get a professional involved to get that help.
Yeah, definitely. I think as a starting point, though, going back to that, reach out, speak to somebody. With Suicide Prevention Month, I've unfortunately known a few people that have passed away in the last 12 months due to suicide. And in every situation, I would rather receive a call from them saying they need help than getting a call from someone else letting me know that they've passed. So it's always, a tough one to think back on.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Trent. I appreciate your time. It's just, it's making us aware of what we need to do. That mental health, it's not a shame. It is a struggle, and everyone goes through their own struggles. And I hope that, we can spread the word more, talk about it more, and like your services, they give mental health first aid, which is really good, and really promote taking care of our mental health within our jobs. All right. Thanks, Trent.
Thank you.